I just want to take a moment to give you an idea what to expect in this video. This video is long, so how I recommend you ingest it is you watch the whole thing front to back. Then afterwards, perhaps the next day, take it easy, just watch it with a coffee and learn. Now then the next day might be a good day for you to grab your guitar and break it up into sections. Pause it after each chord, after each key. Learn those 3 or 4 triads that I'm showing you and play them. Now, maybe you can get through all of them in your first sitting, probably would take you about a half an hour, but you could actually sit and go with me at that pace. It's a pretty slow pace. In a couple of days at the most, you should be able to go through with me at that pace through the whole video. If it's too fast for you, just pause, work on that first key, that first set of triads, that first chord. Then move on. But what I really want you to do is forget the screens. So as soon as you have this figured out, you know how you can change keys, you know how you can work on chords in 3 different positions and way to play them with the triads, which are easier than your open chord positions. As soon as you get that, then don't go back on YouTube. Don't go back on social media. Don't go back on Instagram, Facebook, Reels, hunting for that PDF that you can't find, that you downloaded and you have to print. By the time you boot up your computer and look for some lost PDF that some guy promised you would change your life as a guitarist, you will be done and I don't want to call it exercise, you'll be done playing music. This is playing music. So as soon as you've got that down, you want to ditch the internet and you're going to do that every day. You're going to sit that fretboard escalator down beside your guitar in your living room and where you'll have no computer and you'll have no phone and you'll come home from work and you'll think, I should practice. And I don't even want to call it practice because you're playing the guitar. You're not practicing. If you can do these things, you're playing music. And soon you're actually going to be able to play real music that you even thought up. So grab your guitar, run through a couple of chords, run through them all. You should be able to do it in a couple of minutes within a few days worth of practice. And when you get that under your belt, then come back and we'll do another exercise or another thing to do with Music Labs, or you can take this and apply it to your existing lessons. Bring it to your teacher, whatever you want to do. So good luck, take your time, relax, and enjoy it. Because you know what? You paid for this. You paid for this device, and I greatly appreciate that you have. But let's put it to use. You're going to get some money's worth. You've got a 40-minute, half an hour, 40-minute lesson coming up that you're going to get all included with your device, specifically catered to this device and to a beginner. Now, if you can play some open chords, that would be fantastic. But don't worry if you don't have them perfect. If they're buzzing and they're not sounding good, you're fine to continue on. Don't let that intimidate you. You will get there. Keep working on those, but also play with these triads. I think you'd be surprised at how well you can do. All the best. Good luck. We'll see you at the end. Now you have your fretboard escalator set up with the 1, 3, 5 of the scale, and you can change to any key you want. So what we're going to do is apply that to the chords you've been learning. And as an absolute beginner, there's no reason why you can't do this, and it will set you up for success for the rest of your musical journey. So here we go. How do we know what key this is in? It's wherever the 1 is sitting at. The 1 is sitting at a C note. So this entire setup on the fretboard escalator is set up for the key of C major. Okay? So what we're going to do is only look at the 1, the 3, and the 5. And if we see that here, we're going to ignore these 2 5s because as we know, or you should know, that the 12th fret is a repeat of your open strings. So at the 12th fret, we have 2 3s, and they're easier to play than these 5s. So the typical way to play a C-shaped chord is like this. You can ignore all of the other ones here for now. We can get there in a minute, so we're going to play that. Oh, let's get my guitar up. We're just going to play that as a standard C shape, right? All of those notes are in the chord, so you can pluck them out individually or include the bass. Okay, so you've made a chord with a 1, a 3, and the 5. That's all that is there. They're all just repeated. So now you say, okay, that's cool. I can play a C chord. Why did you make me build the fretboard escalator all the way out just so that I could do that? Well, everywhere you see a 1, 3, 5 is a C chord. So let's take, for example, it's going to be really bassy. It's not going to sound great, not particularly my favorite. But if we look at, we just take the 5, the 1, and the 3 here. 5, 1, 3. That's a C chord. We didn't play 6 strings, but we still played 3 notes, which gives us a chord. 5, 1, 3. You want to learn notes on your fretboard? You want to learn the notes on the guitar? Take a look at the 5. What is the 5 in the circle of fifth style? Let's jump back real quick. Circle of fifth style. What is the 5 when we are set to the key of C major? The 5 is a G. Well, that lines up with our G, but that's only for the E string. What about the 1? Well, the 1 is a C. So on the A string, 3rd fret is a C. And then the 3 that we're playing here is an E. So D string, 2nd fret is an E. So what we can do is we can look at our circle of fifth style and we can play 5, 1, 3, G, C, E. Okay, let's go back to the guitar. And you can say G, C, E, G, C, E. Or 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, G, C, E, G, C, E. Look at your fingers, look at the fretboard escalator, look at the circle of fifth style. Let it all tie in with your head. Okay, let's pick another. Now that was called a triad. So you just played a chord that is a triad, 3 notes. Okay. Now here's an easy one. We go to the 5th fret, which is an A on the E string, but we're not playing an A. We're going to play on these 3 strings here. Okay, that's another C chord. Only those 3. You heard me strike the high E. It's not part of the chord. So 5, 1, 3. And as we said before, it's a G, C, E. So again here, it's going to be G, C, E. So now you know how to play a C somewhere else. And it's actually easier than this C. So C. Now people will say this is an A shape. I'm just going to say it's a C chord for now, right? How did we know that was a C chord? Because the 1 is on a C note, right? G, C, E. So the 5, 1, 3 is G, C, E, just like it's G, C, E here. So that's easy. Let's go from our C to another C chord. Now let's find another easy C chord to play. Let's go down here to the C on the E string, but we're going to come down to the G string and play 3, 5, 1. So coming down here, we are on the 9th fret, right? We're down here on the 9th fret. Okay, 3, 5, 1. So that's E, G, and C. So you can look at your fingers and say, oh, there's an E and a G and a C there. You will not remember it, but if you do it enough, eventually you will. But now, day 1, this is actually a far harder chord than this or this. Whoops. My mistake, see? Everybody makes mistakes. C, C, C. Now go back the other way. C, C, C. Okay, so we have C here, and C here. Other way. C, C, C. All C chords. All useful, especially later in life, but look how easy that was to play. So if this is C, where do you think D is? Well, D is 1 whole step above C, right? If we remember back to our major scale, between C and D is 1 whole step. The only times we have half steps are between E and F and B and C. So we're at C here, and we're going to go a full step, which means 2 frets away. So this is a C major, this is a D major, this is an E major, this is an F major, this is a G major. Cool, right? Okay. So we have C, we have C, and we have C. Great. Let's keep those 3 positions in mind. And now we're going to change to the key of D. And how do we do that? We move the 1 over to the D. That is a whole step over. We had to move 2 frets, whole step over. And now the entire fretboard escalator is set up in the key of D. And in this case, our 1, 3, and 5 are going to make a D chord, just like that. So let's look at our circle of fifth style and see what the notes are. The 1, now I'm going to change the circle of fifth style quickly here to the key of D major, D underneath the uppercase Roman numeral 1. Our 1 is a D, and our 3 is an F sharp, and our 5 is an A. So for this one, it is actually 5, 1, 3, and our 5 is an A, our 1 is a D, as it should be, and our 3 is F sharp. Okay? 5, 1, 3. There's a D. Now, last time we had a really easy shape where we just barred our finger and we played this to make a C. Well, a whole step away from C is D. So all I have to do is move up a whole step. That's 2 frets, right? And I play the same shape, which you see here. The whole thing just shifted down. There is a D. So we have 2 Ds, a D and a D. And if we go back to our C, we had our C and our C. Now we have a D and a D. Okay, you're only striking these 3. Oh, I don't have my guitar up. We'll bring that back up for a sec. Sorry. So we had D, D. We're only striking these 3. 1, 2, 3 strings, which is 5, 1, 3. 5, 1, 3 here as well. 5, 1, 3. Now we can add a third one. It's the same one we had, and it's the same distance away that we went last time. We went here to here, right? We had C, and then we had C here. Now we're going to have D, and we're going to have D on the with the 3 on the 11th fret. So bring this finger here over to the 11th fret. D. So we have D, 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 D. Say that to yourself while you go through it, just like I did. D, D, D. Okay, now let's go back and review the C. C, C, C. Isn't that cool? It sounds beautiful already. Okay, that's all you got to do. These chords are easier. This chord is no more difficult when I go up here and play these 3. It's not more difficult than this, right? This is not hard. You can do this, right? Maybe you can't see that very well, but we're looking at the 3, the 5, and the 1 played right down here. And it's just a shape. You can see that shape using your middle finger here, and you're barring these 2 with this one. So this one, you've got individual notes on each string, right? Here, I bar the whole thing. So we're going from here, here, and then here, I only bar 2 strings. My bad, sorry. I gotta look at a lot of things when I'm doing this. It'll be easier for you, trust me. Okay, let's straighten out the camera. So, now, the most important thing here is where the 1 is. Let's take a look at the 1. So on this B string, we have B, C, D. Okay, that's our 1. That tells me that is a D chord. And then the 1 is very important in this shape. So if I slide up to here, this is a D. So only focus on the 1. Let's only worry about that D. So there's a D. I'm going to look at that fret. D. Look here, 1. Look at that fret, 1. That's a D. When I say D, I'm going to look at that fret. D. D. I'm looking at this fret, the middle one, right here. D. And I'm looking at the 1 on the fretboard escalator. And now I'm going to go slide up, and I'm going to look at the 1, which is on the high E string. Well, a lot of people call it the low E string, the high frequency E string. So here is an E. Sorry, D. So I can go individually with the notes now. I can go D, right? D, 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 D. All different Ds of different octaves, but still Ds. So now we can play 3 Ds and 3 Cs. Whoop. I make a lot of mistakes when I record videos. And that's fine. You're going to make mistakes too. All I do is make mistakes. That's how you learn. So let's do C's, C, 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 D, D, D. Excellent. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's do E. How do we change the fretboard escalator so that it is in E? We move the 1 over to the E. So that's a whole step over. I'm going to take 1 half step and another half step gives me a full step over. I am now in the key of E major. Now if you look at this, this is what you would play, and you've probably been learning it, your E major chord. Right? Notice how this is, I play the open string. That's this one here, I'm pointing with my pinky, right? Open E and these two, and this one. These are open. So whatever you see here is an open string on the far left. And then I place down my fingers for the 5, 1, 3. I don't have to play anything other than that. That's an E major chord. But it sounds a little nicer when you add everything in, right? So all of these open chords you're playing, C, D, and E, all in the major form right now, only have 3 notes. The 1, the 3, and the 5 from the scale. So boom. Is there somewhere else I can play this chord easily as E major? Yes. Remember that D pattern we just played? It shifted up 2 frets, just like everything else did when we changed the key. So instead of playing, here's my D, I go 2 frets up, 1, 2. So I go from D, I look at this fret here, I know this is D. Whole step away from D is E. E. D. Now we have 2 places to play that E. Here's one, here's another. Go back and forth between them. E, E. Okay? If you need it, you can look up here and see that there's a dot here where the A is. So there's an E there, right? That gives me the root note for that chord. So I can use the dot as a reference. But what you really want to get to the point is eventually you want to just look either at your hands or maybe at all or both, sorry, your hands and the fretboard escalator. And then maybe eventually you'll get to the point where you're just going back and forth without looking, right? Okay, let's find another shape. Do you remember that other shape we did with C when I said we could just play these top 3? Well, we have that shape here. That's an option for us, right? But let's just go all the way down to this easy one here. So we've got this E shape here, which we also have another E here. It's a D shape, but it's an E chord. So E, E, and now let's go over to the 9th fret where the dot is, right? And I want you to just bar at the 9. So we have E, 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 E. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at the 1 here, which could be this one, the open string. And then I'm looking at the 1 here, which is this finger, right? And I'm seeing E, E, looking here at this finger. And now I'm looking at the middle. That's the same. It's always a 1 in the middle of that shape to give me my E chord. E, E, E. Okay, so we got lots now. We've got the C, right? C, C, C. And then we have D, D, D. And now let's do E. E, E, E. Okay, and they all sound different. Okay, so we've got 3 now for the E. We're going to skip F. I'll show you F, but it's not an easy chord. So I'm going to tell you now that everything we've done has been a whole step apart. We started at C, we went to D. That was 2 frets away. That's a full step. We went from D to E, and that was 2 frets away, a whole step. And now when you go from E to F, that's a half step. So just like when you built the major scale between 3 and 4 and 7 and 1 were the only half steps, the only short notes without space between them, the lettered notes are the same. B and C are together, and E and F. So that's all you got to remember. So we're going to go from E to F. That's only a half step over. Notice I only have to take one of the fretboard escalator pieces and move it over, so it's a half step, and now my 1 is above my F. Okay, well, so the traditional F would be this big crazy bar chord. We're not going to do that, certainly not as a beginner. So we're going to take a triad out of that, and it looks like we've got an easy one here. So if I look first, where's my 1? It's at F sharp. Perfect. Sorry, it's at F. It's at F. So here we go. There's our triad. That's a chord. You're playing the F chord. So okay, you don't need the full one, and you don't need this one, which is hard as well, where you bar and go down. See, I take the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 1. Let's say I ignore this, and I play the 1, 3, 5, 1. I have to bar with this finger, and then set up my chord like that. Okay? Easier to just play the triad. So play it and say F and look at this finger. F. I know that is an F note, and I'm building a chord around that F note. Okay? So now we remember the D shape that we had moved up beautifully from D. We moved it up to E, and now we're going to move it up to F. And between E and F is only a half step, right? We just talked about that. So I go D, E, F. Only a half step, right? 1 fret. I only moved 1 fretboard escalator slot over. So now I'm going to go from my F, and now I'm going to find, using the same shape, it's always the same shape, it just moves up the fretboard. I'm going to find myself an F, which if I look at the fretboard escalator, it's the one after the dot, right? So you're looking at the 3, 5, 6 fret. Or you want to get a little bit more confident, what you could do is discover that note yourself. Instead of looking at the fretboard escalator, let's count through it. This is a B string. Between B and C, remember, was a half step. So B, C, D, E, and then a half step to F, right? So this is an F, and I build my chord around it. When I have the F on this string, I use that chord shape. When I have the F on this string, I use this chord shape. Seems like a lot right now, but a lot of people don't even know this. So if you start here, you are going to be amazing. So where are we at? We've got our F here, and now we have an F on the 6th. Notice how they sound the same, right? Now let's take a look at another same pattern we've been using. There's lots of triads on here, but we're just going to stick with the 3 ones we've been using. Here's our 1 triad, right? Here's another triad. And then down here on the 10th fret, we're going to move up and use the same pattern. And we're going to look at the middle string, and we're going to say that's our 1. That's our F, right? Remember, E was here, and now F is here, because we've just moved that 1 from E to F. Pretty good. So let's remember that that is on the 10th fret. Let's remember that this was on the 6th fret, and this is our 1st fret. So we go F, 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 F. Ooh, my amp is cutting out. Okay, F, F, F. Okay, so we've got 3 chords for F now, 3 places to play F. And I said we weren't even going to do it because I was thinking I was going to show you the bar chord and tell you not to bother. But of course, thanks to the Triads, thanks to your knowledge of the fretboard, you know you can play F lots of places. But we're going to pick the easy ones. Maybe you want to pick another place. Well, okay, any place you want. You just have to play a 1, a 3, and a 5 together. So let's go to the C, right? Which, if we count up the frets, 3, 5, 7, 8, right? So on the 8th fret, this is a C. But it's not a C chord we're going to build because that's the 5. We want the 1 beneath it. That should be an F. Now, there's a few different ways you can play this. Whatever's comfortable for you for now. I would probably recommend something like this. But you know what? This works too. The fact is, you can change and you will change the way you play your chords depending on the song. So do something that's comfortable. So there's an F chord based on this note. That's an F. Can we just prove, Steve, that that's an F? How could we do that? So what did we say? We said that the F was right below the C. Right there, right? Okay, we're saying this is an F. So this is an A string. Between A and B is a whole step because it's not part of our whole step list. So A, B, right? And then B and C was a half step. Oh, you remember you played that C there when you played the C chord. So A, B, C, D, E, and then F was a half step. There's our F. 5 1 3 5 1 3 5 1 3 or F F F F F F F F F F F F F F. Okay? You're learning so much, and the fretboard escalator just has it laid out for you. Okay, we're on F. Should we change keys to G? Yes, of course we should. We have to move this 1 over to the G. So that is 1 whole step over. That's a half step, and there's a whole step. We are now 1 whole step over from F. And now, if we were to play a standard G, which you probably are working on, you're going to notice it is that with these strings ringing open. So this is our G chord. And in a full open G position, you're playing these 4 notes with your fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these ones are open, right? Because this is open. Everything you see here that lines up with here is something you can play open. Get used to that because you're going to use it later. It's very powerful. Okay, so that is a full chord. Well, could you also just play the 1, the 3, and the 5 being open here? Yes. There, that is a full chord as well. Add another note, 1, 2, 3, 4 strings. Okay, now we're using the 1. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. We can use the 3. That's where you might see this is an F chord. This is also an F chord. Sorry, this is a G chord. This is also a G chord. Okay, so we can go with or without that 3 because we have the 3 or the 5 as an option. Pretty cool. And now you know why. Now you know why this is a G and this is a G. Pretty cool. So let's move up to our trusty D shape, right, that we used here for D and E and F. And now guess where G is from F? Whole step up. Right? So we're going to remember that that is on the 8th fret. Now you actually may recognize that we also have that same shape that we used down here. Woo! Let's move it down here. We can play it right here. So 3, 5, 1. What's important is that this 1, that is your G, right? Because the 1 here is the same as the 1 here, which is a G. That's what you're going to say G. So you can say G, and then you can say G, and then we went to the 8th fret, G. G, right? G, 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 G. But we've got that one more really easy position that we can use, and that was this one, the 5, 1, 3. Remember, we used it here. So we're going to use that here, or open. either one. So let's see what we can run through. G, G, G. Do it again. G, G, G. Don't go quick. G, G. I should get back to gotta look at the finger that is the G. So I can look at this finger or this finger, and I'm gonna say G, G. Now my new shape is here. I'm looking down here at this finger. This is the only string that has a G. That's the only one with a 1 right here. G. Now I zip up here to the 8th fret. I'm going to look at this finger, that note. That's a G. G. Awesome. And I come way up here. It's the middle one, like it always has been. It's a G. So G. Looking at my finger. G. 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 And also open. Cool. Bet you didn't know you could play a G chord like this without a hand. Look, Ma, no hands, and I'm playing a G chord. Those are triads. Super powerful, and some people, like me, don't even get to them until after they've been playing for many, many years. Why? Because people refuse to teach basic theory early on because they think you're not smart enough. You are smart enough. You can do this. Where should we go next? Well, A's next. Let's do it. Let's move. We are a whole step over to get to A. So here's 1/2 step over. Here's a whole step over to get to A. We are now playing the A chord, which traditionally you might have been shown with your fingers. That's how I play it sometimes on acoustic, and sometimes like this, where I'm just gonna play these 3 notes plus the A string, right? So I'm playing just those, or I'll bunch my fingers up so that I can play everything all the way out. Sorry, sometimes my guitar sounds like it's out of tune because I'm used to playing acoustic, and I play really hard on the acoustic, and then I get in here, and instead of being gentle like this, I push my fingers in the string. So there's a tip. If you're playing electric, don't squeeze so hard. Just enough pressure to make the notes. So I'm not going to get into this because this is what your music teacher, this is what a lot of other people can teach you on YouTube. But the fact is that you need to play. I'm going to put, there's no pressure. They're just going, these are muted. I'm still fretting that one accidentally. I'll show you just how little pressure you need. I'm barely squeezing. And now here, when you start squeezing too much. My amp keeps cutting out. I've got these wireless transmitters, and sometimes they cut out. 2 ways to play it. Okay, that's an A. Let's get back to the task at hand. We created an A. What is do you remember that little triad shape we just used here for the G? Well, that's a G. Well, the A was 2 frets down, right? A whole step. So there's another A. So we have A, right? And we have another A. If you have trouble, that 1 is right above this A, and these notes are the same. So we have A, and we have A. Okay? Okay, so we have A and A. Now remember our other shape? I don't like calling it the D shape, but it really is a D shape. So that is, well, let's take note of where our A was. It's in the same position as this A with the 1 there. Now the 1 on the B string means that we need to slide down to, looks like the 10th fret. So let's remember that that's the 10th fret. So let's come up here to the 10th fret, and we fret our same D way down here. So we're talking A, can find that one by that there, and A. 1, 2, 3. 3 cool places to play an A. Do you think there's any reason why someone couldn't do this as a beginner? If you take your time, look at what you're doing. A. I'm going to say A. So the 1 is actually here. That one. It's also here. So, but I'm going to look here. I'm going to look on the G string for my 1. I'm going to say A, right? And then I'm going to come down to line up my A from here. A, A. So I'm looking right now, I'm looking at the G string. Now I'm looking at the E string. And now I'm looking at the B string. You can get 3 A's. 1, 2, 3. Let's go back the other way. Great. Okay, should we do the B? The B between A and B is a whole step. You should know that by now, right? Because B and C are half steps, E and F are half steps. Between A and B is a whole step. Where are the half steps? They're right here in front of you. If you forget, whoops, can't see my finger. B and C, half step, E and F, half step. It's right there. You can't forget it. We are going to make a B chord. Very weird chord for most people. Most people hate the B minor, which is this one. So let's just get rid of that finger for the moment, and we're going to play 1, 5, 1. Is that a triad? Is that a chord? No. You're missing the 3. But you know what? It's easy. Let's just leave it at that one. So there's your B. Your second B is, hey, there's our shape again. Great. And that is on the 4th fret. So I just need to look for the 4th fret and play it there. So we've got B here, and then we have a B here. But now I have a full chord, right? 5, 1, 3. So my B is here. Prove it. Prove that's a B. It's a G string open, right? A string is 2nd fret because it's a whole fret, whole step between G and A, and then B, whole step again. Okay, so we have B, and we're back to our shape that we started with on day 1. If I line up that B with the 7th fret right here, there's another B chord, right? Remember, we keep on lining that 1 up with the note we want. When we're on the high E string, we use this shape. When we're on the B string, we use this shape. So let's find where that should be. According to the fretboard escalator, it's at the 12th fret, which makes sense because that is an open B. It's the same. This note is the same as this note. So our B is here. So let's go through them. B, B. Now where do I get my B? I gotta zip up to my B here. And then my last B is that one. Pretty cool. So we just went through all of them from C all the way back to B. Congratulations, you made it all the way through to the end. Great job. Now, like I said before, you have an understanding of how the fretboard works like probably no one else you know. You also can play these chords you've been struggling with in the open position, making frets buzz and fingering getting the fingers perfect. You can now play that in 3 places, so you get to choose where to play it. You can make some beautiful sounds with your guitar that you probably never thought were possible this early on. So I want you to ditch the internet and spend a couple of days, like I said, work on all of them. If you get them all in a couple of minutes, then great, you're done. Move on, go do something else. If you're struggling, go 1 key or 1 chord at a time. All right, so we'll see you in the next one.